conversation about domestic violence is happening in our community following the deaths of 2 women in Green Bay.
One man is in custody as police continue to investigate the attack. As we reported, police were called to the home on LK Lane last Sunday. When they got there, they found Rhonda Sigelski and Paula O'Connor dead. 48-year-old Richard Sotka of Green Bay faces charges including first-degree intentional homicide for their deaths. He's currently in an Arkansas jail waiting to be extradited back to Wisconsin. Emily Riley has more about the uptick in domestic violence cases in our area and available resources to help.
This incident is a tragic reminder of the increasing rate of domestic violence in our community. These crimes have been on the rise over the past few years. Local shelters say calls for help spiked after COVID lockdown restrictions ended, and they've continued climbing since.
After the pandemic and it started to become more normal, people were going out and about, our numbers did slowly start to rise again.
Golden House, a domestic abuse program and shelter, says victims are experiencing multiple forms of abuse at the same time and more frequently.
We are seeing an increase in people reaching out for services. We are also seeing an increase in the severity of cases that we are hearing about. So last year, 2022, we saw more clients reach out for services than we did the year prior.
Domestic violence cases have been on the rise, and Golden House wants people to know there are resources available to help. Resources like safety planning, mental health therapists, financial support services, prevention education, and other important means of support.
We have our individual crisis counseling, so that person that's answering that phone, taking that walk-in client, meeting with someone if they make an appointment, determining what they need and making sure that they feel safe.
In Green Bay, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.